Colleen has got us recording this, so that's excellent. Thank you. Just a little bit of schedule for our idea of the weeks coming up here. Next week is the NAFA event down in the middle of Illinois. However, we still will have a idea of the week because I looked at attendance and we have a few people there. I'm there, but we have many that are not there. So we will still have an idea of the week next week. We have Tim Connor from One America's Home Office speaking on leveraging the three products, talking about income and protection and what have you. The week after that is I think it's like October 3rd or something. Is that right, Colleen? Whatever that Wednesday is. October 6th. That is One America's virtual university. And it's taking place on both Tuesday and Wednesday of that week. So that week, 2 weeks from today, we will not have a idea of the week. I would highly encourage you to sign up for that. Pick and choose the places you want to attend. It goes from like 11 to 3 every day, our time, I think. So 4 hours in the middle of the day for 2 days. You don't have to attend all of it, but what I really like is that most of the presentations are being conducted by advisors that are associated with One America, are very successful, very high producing, and are sharing a number of their different ideas. Our very own Chris Gandy kicks off the second day and is doing his prospecting. I'm sure it will be, you can, even if you've attended that in the past, you can always glean new information, new ideas, new inspiration from that. But overall, encourage you to attend. You do have to register, so you get the Zoom link. And so with that, if for some reason you haven't seen it or you don't have it, I don't know exactly who they sent it to, but it's unlimited and you can register. So ask Colleen or I to send you the registration and we can get it to you. So today we are very pleased to have Steve Toth speak with us. He's been in the business for a long time, has been affiliated with One America for a long time, knows their product structures, knows how to use their products with retirement plans. And this is retirement plan season. And I'm sure he will tell you this. This is when a lot of business owners, they're done with taxes for the season. They're looking at their books, they're thinking about stuff, and they say, man, before next year, I need to get a retirement plan put in place. So this is the time to be talking to small business owners, to accountants, etc. And I would love for you to listen to his presentation today with an ear for yourself, for knowledge for yourself, but also to think, is this, would this be valuable to have, to invite a small business owner that I know and to hear this presentation, because that is something that we might employ a few weeks down the road here, or an accountant that works with a bunch of small business owners. Should I invite them to something like this? And we'll exploring that and could put that together. I know Steve actually via our friend and partner, the late Bob Kramer, who was working on a case and was referred to Steve by our advanced marketing department. And they struck up a great relationship. And that's how I came to meet Steve, and in finishing some of the things that Bob started, have been working with Steve and know him to be very knowledgeable, an expert in this area of retirement plan options for small business owners. We are pleased to have him, and with that, Steve, I will give you the floor.
Well, thank you, Dennis. I certainly appreciate the opportunity. Can everybody hear me okay? Raise your hand. Yeah. Okay, we're in good shape. Like Dennis said, I have been doing this for a while. I started in the pension business about 40 years ago, and I worked for other people. I learned an awful lot from some tremendous folks, and I've had my own practice now for the past 30 years. And essentially what I do is I work with producers all over the United States. I work with them, their accountants, their legal people if needed, and we oftentimes will show business owners or CPAs the presentation you are about to see. So I hope you'll enjoy it. What I would ask you to do is, if you see something of interest and you have a question, if we don't get a chance to answer it today, I invite you to write me or call me. I'll provide you with that information, and we just want to have the opportunity to show you the kinds of things that I've been doing with folks just like you for the last 40 years. Okay, so I'm going to move forward. Retirement plans for small businesses. Why? Because 72% of small businesses do not have any type of a tax-deductible retirement plan. And that came out of LIMRA a while ago, I know, but we did some studies here in Central Florida and found that the I-4 corridor, which runs from Daytona Beach all the way to Tampa, we only could find 15% of small businesses, and we use the government resources to prove that fact. So what are some of the reasons why business owners don't have a qualified plan? Because they don't think that they're going to get a large enough share of the plan contribution. They don't think that, or they think that the paperwork is going to be too costly and there's going to be too much of it. And the owner just doesn't know where to go for advice or how to begin the planning process. So we're going to show you some of the reasons why they should consider doing a plan. Anybody that you know that owns a business, and we like to think of the prospect as being successful small business owners and professionals. We do an awful lot of doctors, awful lot of dentists. We do doctor firms all over the country with multiple doctors, and I got to tell you, they're some of the happiest people in the whole wide world because they make a lot of money and they can get very large tax deductions. But it's not just for the very wealthy. It's for people who need retirement benefits. It's for people who want to retain and attract employees. So one of the things that most people don't know is that qualified plans are creditor protected. I don't care what you do or who you upset. There's only one entity in the entire United States that you can't get out of paying, and that's the IRS. So you can go bankrupt however many times, and as long as you don't do anything illegal, those retirement dollars are going to be you. I oftentimes use O.J. Simpson, who went to jail for quite a while, but his NFL retirement plan was protected, and he still gets 25 grand a month. Wow. He even got it while he was in prison. Okay, so you know it does work. So let's take an overview of some of the qualified retirement plans that are available under IRC, Internal Revenue Code, Section 401A, that receive tax-favored treatment. These are tax-deductible contributions. They offer tax-deferred growth, and there's basically two types of qualified plans. Defined benefit. The benefit is defined at retirement. When you're 65, you will receive X number of dollars per month for X number of years or lifetime. And then there's the defined contribution. Unlike the defined benefit plan, the defined contribution plan just allows you to contribute money up to the maximum limits, and then whatever you invest in will determine what the lump sum available at retirement is, and you can use that, take it as a income stream, you can roll it into an IRA, which is oftentimes the case, and then reinvest those dollars. I happen to know that One America has some very good products in the defined contribution type plans because I've used them for a long time. I've written a lot of business with One America in that arena. So let's talk about plan options. There's an SEP plan, Simplified Employee Pension Plan. The trouble with an SEP is that it's not simple. It's some people set them up and think it's cool, but if you have a business prospect who happens to have a SEP and he has the ability to make significantly larger contributions because we can design a plan, we may not be able to write that plan in that given year unless we can do some things that would reverse the SEP contributions, because you can't have these plans that I'm going to be talking to you about and an SEP in the same year. Okay. Profit sharing plan, probably the most common type of plan that's available. You set it up. The business owner can determine if he wants to put in a percentage of income. He can wait until the end of the year to declare what it's going to be. He can do so many different things. A profit sharing plan is extremely flexible. He can put nothing in the plan. So a lot of business owners, especially the small ones who might want to set up a profit sharing plan, need to look at it and determine if they're going to be able to put money in it, because it really doesn't make any sense to set up a profit sharing plan and then not make contributions into it for your employees. Okay. 401k plan, probably the most popular plan today because everybody offers them. And just for your knowledge, you can't have a 401k plan without having a profit sharing plan, because the 401k plan is in the same section of the code as the profit sharing plan. So if you want a 401k plan, we set it up as a profit sharing / 401k plan. That way, the business owner can allow you to make salary deferrals into the 401k plan. At the same time, we'll try to convince him to provide some kind of a match to that contribution. And if he so desires, he can also make a profit sharing contribution. A lot of times it depends on how the plan design looks and what his objectives are and who he's trying to benefit. I can tell you from my experience, I'd say 99% of all business owners that have a plan don't set it up for their employees' benefit. They set it up for their benefit. The employees just happen to be there. And as long as the cost for those employees is not extraordinary, it can be really great for everybody. Now, I have had a few really generous people who have decided to do things a little differently, but I got to tell you, it's so small. It's really the business owner who's setting up a plan for his benefit, and he wants those things to come to him as much as possible. Then we're going to move into the other type of plan called the traditional defined benefit plan. Traditional defined benefit plan is a defined benefit plan that allows the trustees of the plan to invest the contribution dollars as they see fit. They can put the dollars into life insurance, annuities, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and any other investment that is determined to be qualified to be in any kind of a qualified plan. Okay. Cash balance plans. It's still a defined benefit pension plan, but this is where it gets fun and interesting. By putting in a cash balance type plan based on the census, the incomes, the ages, the people in the plan, this is where we can get very creative and try to drive as much of the total contribution to the business owner, unlike a traditional defined benefit plan where everybody is going to get the same benefit based on the formula. The cash balance plan allows us to integrate the cash balance defined benefit plan, oftentimes with a profit sharing plan and a 401k. So they get the benefit of not only the defined benefit plan design, but they also have the benefit of taking advantage of a 401k and a profit sharing plan. And some of these designs are really spectacular. I've got a good friend of mine, his name is Fred Johnston. He designs the cash balance plans for us. And I've seen him take companies that had 30 or 40 employees and 3 or 4 owners and still get 80% of the total contribution to the owners. That's pretty spectacular. Anytime you can get that much money going to the business owners, it's really then a question of the business owners' cash flow, profitability, what their future business looks like. Because when we work on these type of plans, we always like to get their accountant involved if at all possible. Because who knows better the history of their cash flow, their taxes, and can give us a somewhat of an objective opinion about what the future looks like. Because we sure in the heck don't want to start up a big plan and some company knows that next year it's all going to go down the tube, because it won't do anybody any good. These plans that we set up, any of these plans, except for the set plans, which once you're in one, unless you terminate the plan at the end of the year, you're stuck with making contributions for them if you want to. In a cash balance or a defined benefit plan, once you start one up and you sign the documents and we get into the year, say 500 hours, you're stuck with making a contribution. There is no ands, ifs, or buts about it. So we don't want to do this for some company that just had a great year, but has never had a great year in the past, or really doesn't know that they're going to have a great plan or a great contribution ability in the future. This is particularly true with attorneys. Here in Central Florida, we have got some of the biggest law firms in the nation dealing with automobile accidents. They advertise as the biggest in the country. No kidding. But if somebody is a small business owner and they are an attorney for chance and they don't have a tradition of earning big bucks, okay, and they have that one grand case, we can't do anything for them. Because what would happen is they'd make one grand contribution and then they'd not be able to make those types of contributions in the future. And the IRS is going to come back and look at that and say, hey, look, you were just looking for a 1-year tax shelter, and this isn't really what the retirement plan is all about. So we're looking for people who have the ability to make contributions and continue them. Now, to be fair, there are backdoors to the Alamo in the IRS code. Okay. You know, bad things happen to good people all the time. Somebody dies unexpectedly, a business gets bought out, there's some other kind of tragedy or business excuse. The IRS will listen to reason, and they're not going to ding you if you can give them the information that they need to say, hey, look, you set this up in good faith, you attempted to continue to contribute to this plan, and bad things happen. So, you know, we're not gonna ding you. But keep in mind that a good rule of thumb, 5 years. If a person can set up a plan and fund it for at least 5 years, they've probably crossed the threshold in which the IRS is not going to look back and say, oh, you just set this up to get 5 years worth of deductions. We set up a lot of plans that only have 5 years to go. So that's never been a problem at all. Somebody 60 years old. I can't tell you how many plans I've set up for people in their 70s. Okay. You wouldn't think they'd be good prospects, but I got to tell you, some of these people out there that are making enormous amounts of money and are still in their 70s and are still working and still have a company and still want to do things, hallelujah, send them down. We want to talk to those people. They're really good. And they're very receptive to these type of ideas. Okay. So we have one more kind of a plan. This is a fully insured defined benefit plan under code section 412E3. If you see my email address, it says 412I on it. That was the tax code previously to the update that they did. Nothing changed in the language under section 412. There's nothing different between 412I and 412E3 except for the initials. Okay, so don't let that fool you. Okay, fully insured defined benefit plans simply mean that we can only use approved life insurance and annuity products that are approved for 412(e)(3) plans, are approved in the state where the product is being issued, and that everybody understands that these are, without a doubt, the plans that generate the most significant contributions. We've done hundreds, if not thousands, of these plans over the, I mean, it's just so many of them, it's hard to keep track of. But I got to tell you, if we run into the proper prospect, you know, we'll run traditional plans, we'll run the cash balance, we'll run the 412I, and we'll lay them down beside each other and let the business owner make the decision, or his advisors, or you along with his advisors. Okay, we want to make certain that whatever we do, it's the right thing to do for the business owner. Okay, and that's why we spend so much time working with you, working with your client, working with the CPA. Rarely do attorneys get involved unless they want the plan themselves. I mean, in all the years, and I've got great relationships with a lot of attorneys all across the country, but they're into estate planning and other types of things. Pension, unless they're an ERISA attorney, that's just not their thing. Okay, then there's something that we do that right now is not as desirable until we get some new rulings from the IRS. A 412(e)(3) carve-out plan is where we combine a profit-sharing plan and a defined benefit plan similar to a cash balance plan, but instead of it being a traditional defined benefit plan, this is where we use the rules set up for a fully insured plan, meaning it's got to be life insurance and annuities. And then we would normally put on a profit-sharing plan and perhaps a 401k plan. And this is one of the things that we can do. And in those areas where it still works, it's super duper, because depending on the number of employees, we can put the owners in one plan and put the employees in the other plan. Okay. When it works, it is beautiful. But like I say, right now, there are some issues that are being worked out, but we can address those as time goes on. Let's do some plan comparisons. Let's take a look at our small business owner. He's age 50. He has a partner who's 53. They both make $285,000 a year in W-2 compensation. And it's very key to understand that these plans are based on W-2 compensation, not 1099. A lot of times what we have to do at the end of the year, once we receive a census, is to question the business owner on how much K-1 do you take? Because what we may want to try to do is convince them to move some of that K-1 into W-2 income to take advantage of a larger deduction. And usually when we prepare the facts in front of them, we usually don't have too many arguments. Okay, so now we have employee number 1, 34 years old, making $66,000, and employee number 2 making $62,000, and employee 3 just making $26,000, and is the youngest of all of the employees. And so if we did an SEP plan, a simplified employee pension plan, the owners do okay. And these I think are 2000. Yeah, these are 2020 numbers, so it's a little bit more this year, but it gives you a pretty good idea. The 2 business owners get $57,000 each, and all the employees get what you see there. Okay, if we did a profit sharing plan instead of a SEP plan, the 2 business owners still get the same amount of money, but look what the employees get. Now, the employees may not like it, but the business owners certainly do. They get 93% of the total contribution versus 77% if they did a SEP plan. Then we go to the profit sharing 401k, which I mentioned to you before. Here's where we're able to boost up the contribution to the business owners a little bit. They're getting 63.5. Again, these are last year's numbers. And look, the employees still get the same contribution they got with just the profit sharing plan. Not bad. Now the business owners are getting 94% of the total contribution. And this is a small business. This could be a dentist office. This could be, I'll give you some companies that I've worked with, printing shops, dry cleaners, you name it. There are just so many different small businesses where the owners make a bunch of money, and they've got employees, nice employees that don't make a whole lot of money. And certainly if a business owner wants to be more generous, there are ways to do it. But if they're just looking to put it into their pockets, this is one way. Let's take a look now from the defined contribution plans. We're going to look at defined benefit plans. Qualified sponsored plans that guarantees a specific benefit level at retirement for its participants regardless of investment return. Okay, provides the highest tax deduction for an employer, completely funded by the employer. Employee doesn't have to put anything in. And each employee's future benefit is calculated by using a specific formula in the plan. Here's an example of one. Usually what we do when we're dealing with these small businesses is we try to get a sense of their ability to make. How large of a contribution can you make? How long can you maintain that contribution? Okay, so you can put in $100,000 this year, but do you think you're going to be able to put in $100,000 or near that amount each year for the next 4 years? Very important to know. It's no different than you selling a life policy to somebody that's got a very large premium. And then the second year, they come back and say, yeah, maybe I bit off maybe a little bit more than I should. And so now you got to go back to the home office and you got to work with dentists and you got to try to figure out how to make this thing, massage this thing to make it okay that the client can keep it. But now you're dealing with the government. In a qualified plan, it's just not that easy. It's okay in a profit sharing plan. It's okay in a 401k plan within limits. But when you're dealing with a defined benefit pension plan, you've got a bit more of a higher bar to jump in order to get the IRS to want to let you just reduce the contribution back. Okay, so I tell you that by way of warning. We'll work with you all the time, and the people that administer these plans, and I think they're some of the best in the country because they used to work for me. And so now that they set up their own firm, we use them exclusively whenever we can because they're very, very good at what they do and have been doing it for a very long time. So this is what a defined benefit plan looks like. Let's put them into our company. Oh, first of all, let's talk about some advantages. Contributions are not included in the employee's income. The tax deferred growth until there's distribution. Benefits up to a lesser of 230,000 or 100% of compensation. That's a little higher this year. And the benefit at retirement is guaranteed. In the olden days, as some of my friends would say, a traditional defined benefit plan was the kind of benefit plan that most major companies afforded their employees because it did give them a guaranteed benefit. You talk to somebody who's getting $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month, and it's not in a profit sharing plan, it's not in a 401k, it's in a defined benefit plan of some kind, unless they work for a government entity. And most of those are based on the same principles of a defined benefit plan. So, these are some of the things that we want you to know. A traditional defined benefit plan, you can put life insurance in it. Can you put life insurance in a profit sharing plan? Yeah, within reason. Can you put it in 401k? There's no law that says you can't, but I would truly discourage it. There's just not the place to be putting life insurance. Too many things can happen that can goof up the plan and goof up the insurance. So put it in some other kind of a plan or do it on the outside as a non-qualified type plan. Okay. So how does a defined benefit plan, what are the disadvantages? These puppies are pretty much inflexible. Mandatory contributions. We might be able to jiggle around a little bit. The funding is required annually. Required is the key word here. And the actuary, who, by the way, you have to pay for, is required to determine funding. He's a fun guy who lives in a little office. He's got a green, one of those visors on, and you know, just they're different. That's all I can say. Good people, very good people, but different. All right, you may have to purchase pension insurance through the Pension Benefit Guarantee Corporation. PBGC is there to make sure that the rank and file employees will get their pension or some portion of it, even if the company were to go bankrupt, go out of business, get taken over by some other entity. Okay, so this is something that uh, are typically part of traditional defined benefit plans. The benefits in this plan are not portable unless it's a lump sum distribution. For example, if you're in a profit sharing or 401k plan and you want to move your assets to another wirehouse or another insurance company's annuity or whatever, unless there are problems and surrender charges and all that kind of jazz, you pretty much have the flexibility to move that money wherever the trustees of the plan or the owner of the plan wants them to go. But in a defined benefit plan, the only way you can move the money is through a lump sum distribution. You can't move the monthly benefit that you're promised at retirement, okay, which is pretty important. Okay, benefits. I have had to come out to so many companies at the end of the year when we hand out the participant statements that show them, here's how much you've got in monthly benefits that's vested. Here's how much we have in cash that's vested. Here's how much that's not vested, okay, in both the benefit and in the assets. And I got to tell you, the average person doesn't understand that stuff, okay? And so guess who gets to go out to the company, okay? And sometimes, oh gosh, I hope this doesn't happen very much. Instead of passing out bonus checks, they hand out the participant statements, okay? Because business owner thinks, look what I did for you. This is pretty cool. The trouble is the employees, if they don't understand what you're doing for them, it could cause some dissatisfaction and some rumbling in the employee benefits. Please do not ask me to come up to Chicago and do that. As long as there's Zoom, we should be able to handle anything that like that ever comes up. All right. All right, let's see a plan comparison with a traditional defined benefit plan. Okay, this is where it starts getting interesting. Look at our two owners, 113,000, 134,000 for the two owners. Employee one gets 12,500. Employee number two gets 18,050. Employee three only 4,300. Why, you ask, is there a difference between employee two and employee number one? Age. The older you are, the fewer years you have to retirement, the benefit requires funding based on the benefit and the number of years you have left until retirement, okay? So this is just one of those things that we have to do. But you can see the percentages now of each of these different type plans on all of the employees. So let's move forward to our cash balance plan, okay? It's a hybrid. It's a defined benefit plan that combines the features of a defined contribution and a defined benefit. Excuse me. Like defined benefit plans, the funding at you're funding a benefit at retirement, but like defined contribution, the benefit is shown as an account balance, although hypothetical. Always a bit confusing for some people. Okay. Contribution is determined by that same cute actuary that all the girls are after on a hypothetical account basis, the investment performance of real plan assets. Like other defined benefit plans, the employer benefits during good performance, but not during bad, because if there are bad returns, the employer has made a promise to fund the benefit. So if these type of plans, if the assets return is not what was projected, what happens? The employer's got to put more money in the plan, something they don't like an awful lot to do. Okay, so that's just the way these type of plans work. When you combine it with a 401k plan, the two plans are tested as if they were one plan. And that's where our people come in. That's where those good looking fellas with the actuarial visor come in. We take care of all of that stuff for you. We see cash balance plans are set up with a large benefit to the owner and smaller benefits to the employees. When it works like a dream. Okay. And the key here is just to make certain you know your client, your CPA, and you have a reasonable comfort level that they're going to be able to continue to make these contributions in the future. I would rather set up a plan with a lower contribution, less insurance, less annuity, less investments than get somebody in over their head just to take advantage of a one-year blip in their compensation or their cash flow. And by giving the employees a benefit in the defined contribution plan, it will cost the employer less than if funded in a cash balance plan, and you're about to see that. Okay, let's take a look at the advantages. Employees can easily see the benefits. Its portability, it's very portable, it's flexible. Tax deduction to the employer is usually much higher than in a defined contribution plan. And the combo approach minimizes the contribution requirements for the employees while maximizing the benefit for the owners. Some pretty cool words in there. Maximizing and minimizing. Maximizing for the owner, minimizing for the employee. Employees will never know in most cases. Okay, they're just happy that they have a plan, and most of those plans will typically provide a good benefit. What are the disadvantages of the cash balance plan? As we mentioned a minute ago, employer bears the investment risk. If the investments that they chooses do extremely well, he has no risk. But if they don't perform, if he invests in some China stock that took a 600-point nosedive yesterday, okay, they probably would be sweating bullets. All right. But if on the other hand, they invested in high quality life insurance products, high quality annuity products, high quality mutual funds of a domestic kind, not as much risk. Annual funding is required for these plans, and you do need that actuarial certification. So we never say bad things about actuaries. Okay, let's throw them into the mix. We've got our 401k, we've got our cash balance plus a 401k. And my goodness, look at what happened to the contribution for the two owners, 196,500 each. We like to use cash balance plans oftentimes when other plans show a disparity in contribution between the two business owners, perhaps because of age or whatever the reason. If we can equalize the contribution, it bodes well for happiness between two 50-50 business owners. If they're not 50-50, that's not the same thing. But look at the employees' contributions. Still a very generous $7,260 for our 34-year-old, $5,928 for our 40-year-old. Why did that go down? And we've got our 32-year-old with $6,055. Blame the actuary. No, there's a reason for all of this stuff. It's formula driven again, and the business owners up at the top get to take advantage of the profit sharing and the 401k plan that those at the bottom may not be able to take advantage of as well. Okay, but the business owners on this particular plan are getting 95% of a total $412,000 contribution. Now, I hope you're writing down lists of names of all the successful small business owners that you know, and all of the doctor's offices that you go to, and all the dentists that you go to, and all of the CPAs that you're familiar with. Because the CPA, well, who was the fellow that said, they asked him, why did he rob banks? Because that's where the money's at. The CPA knows where the money's at. He knows who is making money and who's not. He knows how long they've been in practice. Much what the future looks like, at least on a short-term basis. So CPAs I spend an awful lot of time. I will tell you, I have done these types of meetings for CPAs all over the country until COVID came along. And then we did them on Zoom basis, just like we're doing with you today. You get a room full of CPAs that have, and here's where we've got to be careful. Don't waste your time going to big, large CPA firms that have got 30, 40, 50 CPAs and only 2 or 3 owners. Go to the firms where you have 1 or more owners, but not a whole lot of rank and file people, because the rank and file people want to come to these types of meetings for their CPE credits and not for the information, because they don't control the clients. It's the business owner CPAs that you want to get interested. It's okay if the other guys attend. It's just they're not going to lead you to any good prospects. Okay. And I've done virtually thousands upon thousands all over the country. Name a state, and I've probably done a CPE seminar for CPAs. Okay. Because that's where the money's at. Let's move on. Are we good on time, Dennis?
Yep, we're good.
Okay. A 412(e)(3) plan is just a defined benefit plan that's funded solely with life insurance products, whether it be an annuity or a combination of whole life and annuity. It is possible to fund this plan with just annuities, or you can have a combination of whole life and annuities. We've got to follow the rules. The life insurance can't be greater than 49.9% of the total contribution. Okay. We usually back that down a little, so we've got some wiggle room if things change, but the rest of the money has got to be in an annuity. And you've got the annuities, you've got the life products. So, it's no problem for us. We design them. In fact, I don't know if you can see her. There's a young lady sitting right behind me.
Hi.
Her name is Danielle Elizabeth Toth Paul. She's my daughter. She graduated from the University of Florida. She came to work for me right after graduation and has pretty much been with me ever since. Okay. She designs all of the 412s. Okay. We need those actuaries to design some of the other plans. So always be nice to Danielle. She'll try and make a really good design for you. And we're always available for consultation. And that's something very important that you need to know. If we help design a plan for you and we send it to you, we would very much like to walk you through the presentation. We would very much like you to know that we're available to help you present this to your client, whether it be over the phone or through Zoom or some other deal. We're more than happy to work with your client's CPA or attorney if they happen to be involved. That is just not a problem for us. That's how we help you make sales, which is good for all of us. Okay. The insurance company guarantees the benefits. That's why we don't have to do a lot of the stuff that other plans require when we're using non-guaranteed products, because What America is going to guarantee that monthly benefit. They're going to guarantee the lump sum distribution. They're going to guarantee the death benefit. And something you should know about life insurance and a qualified plan. The contribution is tax deductible. However, the pure insurance cost is reported to the trustees of the plan, a business owner, as a well, we used to refer to it as a PS 51 or 52. They've now got another name for it, but he gets a tax statement every year. All the participants get a tax statement for the life insurance they have on their life. It's pennies compared to the death benefit. And the other thing about life insurance and a qualified plan, if the person or the company needs life insurance, the business owner needs life insurance, and I haven't met many that didn't, and they want to put it on all of their employees, the death benefit less the guaranteed cash value of the life insurance policy is income tax free to the named beneficiary. So if you set up a plan in year one and you put $1 million on the business owner and he paid his PS 58 tax cost, okay, which pennies, okay, and then he has the misfortune of dying, we're going to pay that $1 million out less any cash value that happened to be in that policy to his named beneficiary, income tax free. I can't tell you how powerful that is. I mean, it just is. If somebody has the ability to write the checks for the contributions to any of these plans and they can afford to put life insurance in the plan, these all work pretty much the same way. Okay, cash balance plans, traditional plans, even profit sharing plans, not 401k plans. Okay, let's be very honest about it. They don't belong in 401k plans. But having the types of guarantees we're talking about is rare in today's world. 412(e)(3) plans usually offer the highest deductions based on the incomes, the W-2 income of the business owner. If you do work with business owners, then I'm sure you're familiar with the fact that a lot of business owners take a W-2, and then in order to avoid Social Security and other types of taxes, they will elect, if they're a LLC or some other type of company other than a regular C corporation, they're going to take a K1 distribution that hasn't had all of that other tax come out of it. Okay, and they still get to spend the money. They're going to be taxed on it, but they still get to spend the money. We can't use K1 to bump up the benefits, but we can, after we run some numbers for them, get them to convert some of that K1 into W-2 income, as long as we do it before the end of their benefit year or their plan year. Okay, so that's why we like to get these designs done earlier than later to help these people make some of the moves that they need to do. All right, excess investment earnings. Now this is quite a bit different. In a fully insured defined benefit pension plan, Dennis, does One America offer dividends on their life insurance products?
Every year since they've been in existence, they pay.
Interesting. Because what happens is those dividends in a defined benefit plan like this reduce next year's contribution. So you could have a plan, the benefit doesn't go down, the life insurance doesn't go down, just the contribution. Okay? Excess investment earnings in the same way in the annuity. If the annuity pays more than what the guarantee is, that would also be used to reduce future contributions. So here's a plan, and I've had plans that I've done 30, 40 years ago that we got somewhere out to the 20th year or so. They couldn't make any more contributions into the plan. Even though they had a ways to go till retirement, we couldn't put any more money in this plan, but we could set up a profit sharing 401k plan and can continue because their benefits are fully funded. The life insurance plan is paid up, essentially, not going to have any more contributions to it because the dividends are covering all of the premium. Lots of good things. Whole life insurance can be used to help guarantee the benefits at retirement and provide a very large death benefit, hopefully. Don't want to see anybody pass away prematurely, but it happens to all of us at some point in time. And we've certainly seen it in a lot of our businesses, and delivering death claim checks, I'm sure, is not one of the happy moments of your life, but it should be a proud moment, okay, that you're able to deliver the guarantees that your policy provides to a widow or a widower or those children. And life insurance in a defined benefit plan or any of the plans that I've shown you helps complete that promise, which is extremely important in my eyes. I'm an orphan. My mom died when I was 9 years old. My dad died when I was 16. I understand. We didn't have much money, but my dad had life insurance on me instead of on him. So even though it was well intended, okay, whoever the agent was just didn't understand what the value of insurance could do in my situation. Okay. Don't let that happen to you and all of the people you represent. So let's see how a fully insured defined benefit plan is on the advantages. Maximum current tax deduction. Absolutely no market risk. The only risk you have is One America. One America, are they okay? I would say so. You know, I've represented them for an awfully long time. Absolutely enjoyed my experiences with them. Kelly Hall, who's in your advanced marketing department, I've known for a very long time, since I think 2014. She shared with another one of your compatriots, Dennis. She's a sharp gal, and I've done this presentation for her when she was with another company before she came over to One America. You are very lucky to have her. Kelly Hall, Advanced Underwriting Department. The accrued benefit is equal to the contract value, quite a bit different than in a traditional DB plan where the benefit is the benefit. It's not equal to anything other than the benefit. But in a fully insured plan, the accrued benefit is equal to whatever the value is in the life insurance and in the annuity. And these are also creditor protected. The insurance company guarantees the benefits to the plan participants and to the beneficiaries. Extremely important. And that's why you should be so proud to be working with a company like One America. Okay. One of the top in the industry, and your clients should understand that's really, really a good thing. Now, this is some mumbo jumbo. You don't have to do a Schedule SB, and there's no PBGC variable premium required. PBGC, by the way, is just Pension Benefit Guarantee Corporation, which says that if you have a plan with X number of people in it, then you've got to pay for this insurance that the government says will provide some benefit. It doesn't really do much for the business owner, but it does provide some benefits for the employees. Okay. So let's take a look at how this one fills the chart up. Well, got to do our disadvantages first. These are higher annual contributions typically for plan participants. Okay. You don't have the luxury of making things work differently in this plan. It does require annual contribution. Doesn't mean they all have to be done at once. You just got to have them all in by September 15th of the year following the end of the plan year. Okay. I know you're taking notes and remembering all this stuff, but that's what I'm here for. That's what Danielle's here for. That's what our team is here for. Okay. Very inflexible. You set up one of these puppies, guys putting in $300,000 or $400,000 a year, and next year the bottom falls out. We've got challenges. Okay. I'll be very honest with you. These are not for those companies with roller coaster compensation, roller coaster profits. These are for those companies that are pretty much, we know they're going to be around for a good while. 5 years is the minimum. The IRS says that you need to have a plan before they're not going to take some kind of drastic action and disqualify the whole thing. As I've said to Dennis, and I think I may have mentioned earlier, there are back doors to the Alamo so that people can get out of this if they have to because of some uncontrollable reason. Okay. So again, I'll be happy to talk about any of those issues. All right. In the plan comparison world, we're almost done. We've got the 412E3 plan, and wow, now we're putting away almost $250,000 for our 50-year-old, $326,000 for our 53-year-old. Why? Because he has less time to retirement. So we've got to put more money in to give him the same benefit that owner, the 50-year-old owner. But look at the amount of money that's going in for employee 3, employee 4, and employee 32. Now the business owner gets a $677,000 deduction, and if they have the cash flow and the history and the projections that can support that kind of a contribution, Whoop-de-doo, they get 95% of the total, okay? But there's one more plan that we're going to look at, and this is the plan that I mentioned to you before. It's where we combine a 412(e)(3 defined benefit plan and a defined contribution plan and tested so that the owners receive the majority of the contribution. May work well when a traditional or a cash balance plan does not generate the contribution desired. May allow higher initial contributions for the owner and key employee. And what we're doing is combining the 412(e)(3 with profit sharing plans and 401k plans. All right. Alrighty then. Advantages, it will get the maximum current tax deduction. Again, no market risk except in the profit sharing 401k plan. Whatever you put in that could be subject to market risk, but not in the defined benefit portion. Accrued benefit, again, is equal to the contract value. These are ERISA creditor proof plans, all of them. Profit sharing, 401k, defined benefit, cash balance, fully insured plan, all creditor protected. Insurance company guarantees the benefits except underneath the profit sharing and the 401k, depending on what you put the money into. And there again, there's no Schedule SB and there's no PBGC variable premium we have to worry about. So how does this look? Well, we can't put any more money away for owner number one or owner number two. But holy cow, look what we did for employee 1, 2, and 3. Should you do that? I can't tell you. All I can say is that we can design them and help you present them, okay? And we can present more than one plan so that the business owner can determine what he thinks is the right thing to do. But under this, he doesn't get quite as big of a deduction as he got into just the 412(e)(3 plan, but he still gets $582,780 deduction, and he and his partner keep 99% of the total. Are these legal? Yes. They're currently, we're having a little challenge with the IRS. About every 20 years or 15 years, they get a wild hair and they decide that they're going to look at defined benefit pension plans. And, you know, I went through this years ago, and there were some nefarious firms out there doing things they shouldn't be doing. You know, they I don't even want to tell you, because I don't want anybody to know how to do it, because it's just going to cause grief for you, your family, and anybody you're associated with. We have never done anything or designed any plan that's going to get you, your client, or ourselves in trouble with our good friends in Washington, okay? So if this kind of a plan works, or another one of these plans might work better, hallelujah, we're all for it. We just want to make certain that you understand the options that are available to you, because you're part of Dennis's organization. And I hope you tell the other agents that you know of, the brokers that you know of, agents from other companies, that boy, you ought to see what we can do. And maybe Dennis can have a, I don't know, a recruiting meeting or something along those lines to maybe suggest that if they don't have the opportunity to do this kind of business, these can be life-changing plans. One of my early plans was with a group of doctors. My partner was a CPA who was also a practitioner, so he collected commissions as well. We each made $1 million. Group of doctors making lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of money, and wanted to put away the absolute maximum they could. And they wanted life insurance to protect their families. And they were really not that old. They just made so much money. So we designed several different kinds of plans and laid them all out for them on their table and explained them, met with their CPA, answered all the questions, did all the things that we could, and they were standing in line to fill out the paperwork. I mean, I hope you have the same experiences, okay? They don't all have to be $1 million commission cases, but you know, there's nothing wrong with $10,000, $20,000, $50,000. And any of that commission money you don't want, I would raise my hand and offer to put it to good use. Yeah, my daughter just said, we'll give you our home address. But this is what we do, okay? This is what we do every day, sometimes Saturdays and Sundays, evenings, whatever it takes to support you, because that's our whole job, is to help you understand, help you prospect, help you make sales. I don't care if we make them over the phone or whatever. That's what we're going to do. And just so, and in fairness, Dennis, if you will allow me, I want them to understand that we don't work for free. Okay. You know, as much as I enjoy doing this, we are still a for-profit organization. So we split the commission on the back of the app, both the life and the annuity. If you do securities, we don't participate in any of that. I was at 7 and 24 for 30 some years. And I got to tell you, dealing with the government was such a giant pain in my tuchus. I just decided I like life insurance. I like annuities. If you guys are great at securities, bless you, because that's never been my thing. Okay. So we just go back on the app. It's 30% for us, 70% for you. Dennis gets whatever Dennis gets. You guys have worked out any kind of a split arrangement. And certainly if Dennis goes out and helps you, I don't know what you guys do. I'm hoping Dennis makes money. Okay. Somebody's got to pay for these Zoom calls. So that's the way we work. And we have a letter of agreement that we'll ask you to sign. We have census forms that we're willing to share with you that you can get filled out and send back to us. We've got our fee schedule lined up so that you know how much the client's got to pay. What's that, honey? Oh yeah, we design these things for free. There's no charge. I mean, if you want to call us up and ask us questions, you want us to design different plans for you, we never charge for that. Only if you actually sell something and you make money, then we make money. Okay, so we've got all kinds of resource material. One America has quite a bit of resource material as well. And if you get into a situation where you want to check me out, call Kelly Hall. Okay, she's about as good a resource as I can possibly give you, other than Dennis Gorski. And
do you have your contact information on? Was that on the first slide, or do you have a second slide here at the end?
Let me see at the end. Oh, I was going to just do the advantage. Pretty similar. And now, remember, are there opportunities? 72% have no retirement plan. Over 1/3 of the owners aren't saving enough. Expectations for the owner, preferred retirement age is 62, but I'm amazed at how many we're getting people in their 50s that want to retire longer. I can't design a plan that goes out longer than what normal retirement age is, which is currently 66. Okay, but they can continue to contribute after age 66 as long as there's a benefit available. Okay, so it's all about benefits. The reality for owners is, do they have sufficient assets at age 67 to retire? Okay, many don't, or they got to sell their business in order to get it. Only about 40% are familiar with options that are available to them. So this is us. This is my address. This is my email. This is my telephone number. I invite you all. I wish you all the very, very best. And on behalf of Bob Kramer, who I came to know, never met the gentleman. He called me on a referral from Kelly Hall. We talked every single day up to and including the time he was in the hospital. I kept in touch with his family through Caring Bridge. Bob and I just became friends. And those of you who know him understand. He's a kind of a guy that is very easy to make friends with, and somebody that I truly enjoyed the time that I spent with him. I just wish I could have done more for him. I even contacted one of my clients who's an infectious disease specialist here in town, okay, and asked him, what else can we do? He referred a drug that he can't get here in Florida. And I sent that up and said, here, see if you can get this drug. Okay. We all wanted Bob to survive and be a part of this meeting today. But on his behalf, I wish you all the very best. I hope to hear from each and every one of you at some point in time. And Dennis, it's up to you whether you want to take any questions at this point.
Sure, I realize we are at our time, so if you need to sign off, absolutely. If you have a question for Steve, we can take them. Or best is if you have a specific case, reach out to him directly. He's makes himself available. One question that did come in on the chat was, can we have a copy of this presentation? And I have one. You sent it to me, Steve. Are you okay with me forwarding that to anyone that was on the call today?
Yes, absolutely. There's no secret. I mean, I presented this thing all over the country, so there's no secrets in here. These are all facts.
Right.
It's just that if you do get this and you start going over it and you have questions, pick up the phone. I'm real easy to reach. Would look forward to the opportunity to speaking with you. But yes, you can go ahead and share this with anybody.
Awesome.
Okay.
Any other questions? If not, we thank you very much for your presentation. It was excellent and a lot of information in there, and that's why we want to rely on experts like Steve and Danielle. You have the owner who has the big cash flow, has the revenue, wants to get out of the tax situation they're in. This is where you are a little dangerous. Some things that can happen and how they can defer as much as possible for themselves. And sure, they want to help their employees, but they don't want to, sometimes it depends on them. Steve put it perfectly. What's the right thing to do? What's the legal thing to do? Whatever, that's up to them. But the plans can be put side by side, and then the plan can be designed. The very cool thing is the amount of life insurance that you can put in some of these defined benefit plans to really help them and to guarantee that future income. So let's use our experts. Feel free to reach out to Steve. I highly encourage it. And if you want to listen to the recording, we'll send that out as well as the PowerPoint. And
Are there royalties?
Yes.
Hey, Dennis, one other thing. All of you guys know, or gals know, a CPA. Okay. I implore you to call on them, introduce yourself, tell them what you do. And what I would like to say to Dennis, anytime that your firm can gather up some business owner CPA types, I'll do this thing again. I'll do it for them. Okay.
Awesome.
Because that's where the money is. Okay. So thank you all. I look forward to hearing from you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Dennis.